Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you. Good morning. How is everybody doing today? Did I do the wrong thing again? No, I did not. The wrong thing again. Oh, echo. Good morning, everybody. How are you all doing today? If anybody wants to come up, I put this link out on Christian womanhood. So hopefully somebody will get that and want to come on. Has been snowing some in Michigan this morning. So it is what it is, and I'm living with the snow. And tonight, the exciting part of my day, tonight, Wright and I are going to get our eyes checked, and we are going to get new glasses, which we both desperately need. It's been a few years since we've had new glasses. We both got new glasses before we moved into this place, and we've been here over 2 years, so it's definitely time to get our eyes checked, for sure. But I coming on in place of Darlene this morning. Darlene is going to the doctor this morning, and she going to the orthopedic doctor this morning to see if they think that it will help her to go back to the pain clinic or not, which she would do tomorrow if they say it will help. They think it might help. She would be going tomorrow. Try not to make you dizzy, but hopefully they can get her some relief for some of her pain somehow. I know how miserable that can be. I know I'm waiting. I've got about a week and a half to go before my next injection right after my birthday. Woo! The big 5-6 is coming up, you guys. 25, January 25, I'll be 5-6. Craziness happens. Can't believe I'm leaving the double nickels behind already. Feels like I just turned 55 a minute ago, and now I'm going to be 56. But my grandbabies are about to be 7, and that is crazy enough. What else can we talk about this morning? It's a beautiful morning. Ooh. Good morning to everybody. Good morning to you. Good morning to everybody. Good morning to you. Good morning, John. Good morning. Good morning to John. Good morning to you. Good morning to John and buying space too. Good morning. Good morning to John and buying space too. Good morning to John and buying space too. There we go. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning to you. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning to you. Good morning, Michelle. How are you all doing today? I see John is taking Brady to the bus stop. Thank you, Buying Space, for wishing me a happy birthday. And good morning, Michelle. How is your day going this morning? Oh, I forget. see my hair sticking in my face, and then I try to push it down, and I'm pushing on the wrong side. That doesn't help. Doesn't help at all. Darlene is at the doctor today. So we are on in place of Darlene this morning. Oh, yay! Let me get Des on.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yay, I'm so happy you came on. You saved my life.
I told Tommy, I was like, Tracy's all by herself. I'm going to go on with her. And he's like, okay.
It's hard. It's hard to talk to nothing. I mean, you get the chat, but it's just still hard. I don't know. You've done it a couple times. I don't know how you do it.
I don't know how I do it either. I do not know how I do it either.
Darlene's going to the doctor this morning, to the orthopedic doctor. So she is, hopefully they'll say that, yes, they think it might still help her to go to the pain clinic and she can get another injection. We'll see. Or they'll tell her that they don't think the injections are working. If they're not working, they're not working. There's not much you can do about that, you know?
Right, exactly.
Good morning, Dwayne. Good morning to you. Good morning, Dwayne. Good morning to you.
Is it your birthday?
Not today. Not till a week from Saturday. I'll be 56 on the 25th.
Well, you look gorgeous for turning 56. I sure hope I look that good.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll be 56 on the 25th. And I feel like I had this whole discussion with Wright about a week ago. I'm like, no, I'm going to be 55. He's like, no, you're going to be 56. And I'm like, no, I'm turning 55. And then I did the math and I said, oh, crap, I am really turning 56. This is not good. So I aged like a whole year in a minute in an argument.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm turning 40 next month. So.
Oh, boy.
I know, the big 40. It's a big step.
I think 30 was the hardest for me, honestly.
Oh, yeah, coming out of the 20s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like oh man, I was married, I had 2 kids, I had my 2 kids already. It was like, this is what my life is. I guess this is adulting. I am 30, you know? It was just a really rough year. Good morning, Lizanne. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lizanne. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
But yeah, so that was a rough year. And then after that, all the big, you know, and people are like, oh, you're going to be half a century. That didn't bother me. Didn't bother me as much as the 30 did.
Yeah, I'm excited to turn 40, as strange as it sounds, because of, you know, almost not making it to 40.
Right.
So I'm excited about it, but it's like, oh, the big 40.
Yeah.
I was talking to my mom. So my mom, I'm like, I'm going to be 40 next month. What in the world? And she's like, I had you when I was 5.
Yeah. For sure. That's kind of my mom, when I get like that and I'm like, oh my gosh, my baby's gonna turn, you know, 34 this year. She's like, just imagine you're one of my babies and you're not even the oldest, you know. And I'm like, okay, I know.
Yeah, see, I had my kids later in my 20s, so when I hit 30, they were babies, and so they were little, and so I see all my friends post from like people that I went to school with and stuff like that. Their kids are having kids because they have kids young, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I'm going to hit 40 and not be a grandma.
Yeah. I always told my kids growing up that they had to wait till I was 50 to make me a grandma, and I was 49 when I became a grandma. So that was pretty close, considering I was predicting that from way out when they were little. As I had my oldest at 22 and my youngest at 27.
Yeah, I was 27 when I had Jaslyn.
So they were, you know, I think that was reasonable. I would have waited, hindsight 2020, I would have waited a couple more years for when I was 22, for the oldest. I wasn't ready to be a mom yet when I had him, but I did.
Yeah, I was 26 when I had Joey, and I was 27 when I had Jazzy. And so it was later, you know, and I saw my friends having babies, and I was like, I wish I had a baby. And then I was told I couldn't have kids, so it was very heartbreaking and depressing. And then all of a sudden, here comes Joey.
Yeah.
And I was like, yay, I'm going to be a mom.
Yeah.
So it was perfect timing. You know, he's 13, going to be 14 in March. And Jasmine's going to be 13 in November. And I don't think that I would change when I had my children.
Yeah.
And so just because of, you know, the things that I went through in my past. So I think it was a good time and age to have them.
Uh-oh, Lizanne has both kids at home. One with the doctor appointment, then to school after, and the other with the stomach virus home for the day. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Prayers for that.
And much love to you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Hugs to the grandbabies.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully you don't get the stomach virus.
Oh, no kidding.
Tommy's been fighting his for about a month now. And then, and I love Tommy to death, but I'm very leery when they get sick.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, back up.
Back up, because it's a little bit more crippling to me than it is to them, you know. So it's just like, I love you. I'll kiss you on the forehead. That's it.
Yeah. I get that. It seems like anything that gets brought into my house, I catch. And I don't leave the house that much. So it's frustrating that it gets brought in through the grandbabies, through my husband, through the kids. That it's like, oh, man. Because anything that comes in, I get.
Oh, yeah. So if like Tommy gets sick, I know Jasmine's going to get sick like almost immediately after. But if Jazzy gets sick, I know Tommy's going to go down and get sick at the same time because they're always sick together.
Yeah.
So I have two in the house right now that are fighting.
She's kind of daddy's little girl.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They have the same allergies, too.
Do they?
Oh, yeah. They're both allergic to coconut.
They
both have issues with wool. And it is the funniest thing. And I've never seen that before. So it's pretty funny. And they curl up on the couch, and they're both heaters. And so, like, the other night when Jazzy wasn't feeling good, she's like, Daddy, cuddle. And it was like she was a toddler all over again. He's like, yeah. And so they cuddled up on the couch, and she was out like that.
Yeah.
And then he fell asleep, and then they both woke up, and they were just sweating. And I'm like, that's because you two are heaters.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm freezing. I just got to sit in between both of them because they throw off so much heat.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm glad our kids are not in school, at least not at this point.
Yeah.
I can't have them bringing stuff home from school. Crud-wise, you know, the icky stuff.
For sure. I remember, oh my goodness, catching everything from the kids that the kids would bring home from. I even got mono from my oldest.
Ooh.
That he brought home from school.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he had it one time and got better. And because I wouldn't, at that time, I was working and working my full head off. I didn't stay home and get over it. So I had mono 3 times in a year. The third time I stayed home for 2 weeks. Killed me, but I stayed home for 2 weeks and finally got better.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Like you cannot keep working and be fighting mono. It doesn't work.
No. I would end up in the hospital if I ended up with mono.
I was so tired, you know, because that really drains you. And I would take a nap. I would shut off the light in my office, shut the door, and lay down under my desk and take a nap on my lunch and have one of the girls set to wake me up 10 minutes before my lunch was over.
Yeah.
I could go wash my face and come back to life.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah.
Good morning, Denise, and 5-speed 2. Good morning, Denise, and 5-speed 2.
Much
Good
love. Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Denise, how are you feeling this morning? And 5-speed, how are you doing this morning? Oh, yeah, you have it lucky because you don't have kids bringing home, because you would be sick all the time, and with no spleen to fight that off, you would be in trouble if you were getting every cold and sickness that goes around
Right.
schools, because they go like wildfire in those elementary schools, especially. Although your kids are old enough now, are they middle school age now?
Yeah, they're middle school now. Yeah, and so yeah, for sure. I didn't know. I probably live in the hospital with some of the stuff that goes around, and
Heck yeah.
I'm very thankful that we decided to do homeschooling too. Homeschooling is what it's called. And so they're are learning life skills. They're learning how to incorporate math and English and all that stuff into everyday life. And so they seem to be doing really good with that.
Yeah.
So
good morning, Kim A. Good morning to you. Good morning, Kim A. Good morning to you. Yeah, I think that in some ways that is more important. Denise, I'm sorry you're painful this morning.
yeah.
It is more important to learn how the school skills that they teach you, the book skills, really factor into your everyday life. You know, like I remember in high school, algebra teacher talking about how important it was to memorize the quadratic equation in algebra, and it was like, when have I ever used that again? Never.
I don't even know what that is.
Never again.
I have no idea what that is. I've never even heard of that. Like I know what like pi is, but but don't ask me to give you
like
numbers of pi.
minus 2b blah 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 over 2a or something. I don't know. It was just the craziest thing, but it was like they were like, you have to remember this and memorize it. You need it to solve things. I've never used it again.
Right? We're gonna be rocket scientists learning that stuff.
Right?
I'm telling you.
Wishes he had homeschooled his children. I think there's a lot of things. I know that my neighbor, when we lived down in Georgia, was homeschooling her son, and she was able to, you know, take him to like wildlife refuge and stuff like that, and it counted for field trips and
right. And in Wisconsin, it's one of the most laid back homeschooling states there are. And so we incorporate everything. I'm talking everything into their schooling. The kids just learned how to use our griddle, and so they're constantly cooking now, which is like home ec and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, when we go out and about for Tommy sourcing, you know, they're learning that skill, how to pick things out, how to, you know, look things up to see what it's worth and all that other stuff. And so they're doing so much better now than they did when they were in school. You know, I mean, I know I've said this before, but our school district, like Jaslyn corrected the teacher and was sent out of the classroom for it. They don't want to teach the correct things. And so that's where we were done. And they want to medicate it, and which is very sad, you know. And so we were done. And so now they're unschooling, homeschooling, and they love it. They really do. You know, they go outside and they play. That's their PE. You know, they're learning how to do chores. And
well, I think some of that stuff, like keeping house and like budgeting and things like that. Like I remember we had a very short minus B plus, oh yeah, plus or minus B or something over S, the square root of B minus 4AC over 2A. Yeah, that's it. That's it, Dwayne. You're
Dwayne, I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh my God, my brain hurts.
Yeah.
I did not know how to even say that.
Yeah, that was something that they said was so important, but when have I ever used it again? I haven't. But now budgeting and learning to pay bills, that would have been useful. Balancing a checkbook, balancing a bank account, that would have been useful. And we spent like such a small amount of time on that kind of stuff that is stuff that I use all the time now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, it's really sad that they don't teach the things that are supposed to be taught or that should be taught, for everyday life. And so that's where we are. And we actually learned it from Family Flips. We were on the morning show with them, and they were talking about their schooling. And we talked a little bit afterwards, after the live was over, and Tommy and I looked at each other and said, well, what is it going to hurt to try it? And because we were having a hard time with them sitting down and doing schoolwork, actual schoolwork. And so they would always like sneak off to YouTube and, instead of sitting down and actually doing their schoolwork they're supposed to. So we did this and it's actually working out. So a lot of times it doesn't feel like they're learning things, but they are learning. And
yeah,
so
exactly.
Awesome.
They're learning useful things. Good morning, AJC Magic and Darlene B2. Good morning, AJC Magic and Darlene B2. Good morning. Welcome.
Kim A says, I think unless you're going to do a job that requires that kind of math, they shouldn't be wasting time teaching it, because even when it's taught, if the kids even get it, who the heck remembers it? Exactly. Exactly.
Like I said, that whole now I did use algebra theories and stuff when I was in my working world, but I did accounting, so I did use some algebra in that. But overall, the most practical thing is just, now that I'm not working, would be budgeting and bill paying and balancing a bank account and keeping track of all of that stuff.
Yeah, I wish they would have had that when I was in school. I really do.
Said, my daughter took advanced algebra with practical applications, and that curriculum did apply everyday uses to algebraic principles. There was a chapter on doing taxes. Exactly. Mortgages and interest. Exactly, Dwayne. That kind of stuff is important.
Yes, we're looking at buying a house, and I am so confused when they're talking, like the bank and stuff, and was talking to us. I was so confused at what they were saying, and I just kind of looked at Tommy, and he just kind of patted my hand a little bit, which is his way of saying, I'll explain it after we leave. And so I was like, okay. So I pretended like I knew what they were saying. And then we got in the truck and he broke it down for me. I was like, oh.
Yeah. So things, like the interest rate and how mortgages are calculated. And
yeah, I mean, they don't teach that stuff in school. And so it's crazy. It really is crazy. And then
escrow and all of those things. It's crazy, the things that, and we didn't talk about that stuff in school.
Right. Like we were going to we wanted to buy that house that I showed you guys before. When we figured it out, the payments would be really cheap and stuff like that. And then we talked to them and they were like between $1,100 and $1,300 a month for that house. I'm like, that is not worth it. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of land. It's a nice house. It's a bigger house, but it is not worth that because you still have to put in a lot of work into the house.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah. So we ended up passing on it. But that, to me, that just means that something better is in store for us,
Right. Exactly.
So,
good morning to Wanda. Good morning to you. Good morning to Wanda. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, I think that you gotta work with what's gonna work for you. Addition, subtraction, multiplying, division. Leave all the other stuff for college. I agree in a lot of ways. Life skills, basic shop to cooking, especially finances. That is where I'm for sure, Dwayne, because like I said, I did all the way up to calculus in high school in math. That's not stuff that I use on an everyday basis. It's the stuff for bill paying and balancing an account and mortgages and car payment and interest rates and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, see, for us, during the summer, Tommy teaches the kids about, working on the cars and stuff. We actually...
Yeah, like changing a tire, checking oil. They didn't teach that to me in school, but boy, I sure could have used that when I was young and on my own for the first time.
Yeah, I can't change a tire. Tires scare me. So I don't do the changing of the tire. I'm glad I have Tommy to do that for me because, yeah, tires scare me. And I can't even fill a tire. It's really cool.
Air.
Yeah, with air. I can't fill the tire with air. There's a person at the gas station that'll come out and do that for me if I need air.
Yeah.
Because it does. It's
like that's the kind of stuff that it is valuable to teach them, because when they're on their own for the first time and their car gets a flat, or that's the kind of stuff. It's like, wow, I wish I would have known. The first time I was on my own and my car got a flat, I called my little brother because he was always fixing things, and he came over and taught me how to change my own tire so that the next time I could do it myself, which was very helpful. And thank goodness I wasn't like, you snotty little kid, you're not going to teach me anything. But I was like, yes, please teach me how to do it so the next time I know what I'm doing.
Right. And Jaslyn, she is very much into cars. She can change tires, stuff like that. Now, anything else that has to do with the vehicle, I will do. I will pull a motor, I will fix the motor, and I'll put it back in, but please don't make me change a tire.
I agree, Dwayne. Dwayne says you may never need to do it, but you should know how to change a tire.
Oh, I know how to change a tire.
You just don't.
It sets my anxiety off.
But yeah, I'm glad I know how to do it now. And that now I don't typically drive. Frank does all the driving, but so he'd have to change it. But in reality, I'm glad I know how to do it. I'm glad I know how to check oil and windshield wiper fluid and antifreeze and check the, how good it is. And
to see what, for like the women in my family, since my great grandmother, we all know how to work on vehicles, and our favorite smell is mechanic smell. I wish they would put that in a bottle so that Tommy could. Yeah. And my grandma too, she was talking about that. But Jaslyn, since she was really little, has climbed underneath the car and worked on it with Tommy and with me. And the summer or the spring, I had to have the outer tie rods changed on my truck. And so they're going to learn how to do that. And Joey has actually gotten really good at working with the tires. So I'm glad he did that.
Yeah. Good morning, Hart Jasper. Good morning to you. Good morning, Hart Jasper. Good morning to you. See, Denise said her dad did not let her get a driver's license until she changed a tire, checked all the fluids in the car, and how to fill the gas tank, how to change the oil. Yeah, and she said, I'm glad he did that because I had to change the flat. Exactly. Like how to pump gas. I worked with a lady at one of my jobs that grew up in a very privileged home, and then had a husband that spoiled her, and she did not know how to put gas in a car. When he would go to Japan for work, and he would be gone 2 weeks. He would leave his car and her car completely full of gas So when one got low on gas, she could drive the other one because she did not know how to fill her tank with gas. And there isn't, there used to be full service stations, and now there's not that anymore where you can get your tank filled. She didn't know how to do it. Like, that is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I know how to change brakes. I know how to do all that stuff. And then the stuff that I don't know how to do, Tommy has taught me. Or I didn't know how to do, Tommy has taught me. So, I mean, I had a, oh crap, 99 Pontiac or something like that, and it needed a hub, so I changed that. And the first time Tommy ever did car work, it was an exhaust on his buddy's car. And he was, I went with him and stuff, and I climbed underneath there with him, and he was like, well, what are you doing? And I'm like, do you need help? And he wasn't used to that. So he was like, sure, and he was all happy that I was willing to climb underneath the car and help him, and I didn't care.
Yeah. Good morning, eBay reseller and Thrift King too. Good morning, eBay reseller and Thrift King.
Good morning. So yeah, it was a change for him because his exes never got underneath the car with him. And here I am climbing underneath the car with him, and he was just blown away from it. And now Jazzy does the same thing, and Joey, I love Joey to death, but Joey will change a tire, but he doesn't like to get dirty.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll change because he does need to learn all this stuff. But yeah, it was pretty funny when
he just needs to learn the whole concept of having a shop rag to wipe his hands on and getting dirty a little bit, and then go take a shower, clean up when you're done.
Yeah, he reminds me of his Uncle Tuva.
Yeah.
Because Uncle Tuva, he would bring his car to Tommy to have it work done because he didn't like getting grease on him.
Yeah.
And so that's who Joey reminds me of. But Joey's getting there. Little by little, he's getting there, and it's getting better. And so
when you think about it, when kids buy their first car, they typically buy an older used car. So when they have their first vehicle, when they buy their first vehicle, those are the ones that are going to break down and have a flat and burn oil and need you to check the oil regularly and stuff like that.
Right.
When they get grown up and buy a real car,
so our rule for the children, for Joseph and Jaslyn, before they can get their license, they have to learn how to drive a stick. They have to learn. Once they master that, then they can go and get their license. But until then, so they have it, because we feel it's very important. Granted, most cars now are automatic, but we're not going out and buying them a brand spanking new car. Their car is going to be older. And so if we find one that's for a good price, that's a stick, then, that's the one they're going to get, and they're going to have to know how to drive it. And so that's one of our main rules when it comes to them getting their license in a couple years. So
it's definitely helpful to know. Both of my kids know how to drive a stick.
Yep. And Jaslyn, she's ready for it. She's ready to drive. I'm like, no, you still got a few years yet, girl.
The first car, in fact, the car that I took to get my license with my mom, the car that my mom had at the time was an old Duster with a 3 on the tree, as they used to call it. So, I mean, I learned how to drive a stick in order to get my license. I couldn't drive unless I knew how to drive a stick, because that's the only car my mom had.
Yeah, I drove a 3 on the tree, and I almost broke it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I had the experience because they are so rare.
Mm-hmm.
But I would never want one for an everyday vehicle.
Back in my day, when I was, 14, 15, 16, they were pretty popular. That was a popular type of car, and so you definitely needed to know.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like, I was told to move the truck, and so I got in, and I thought it was automatic.
Oh, yeah.
Because nobody told me. And so, yeah, they were laughing at me. But yeah, I almost broke it. So, yeah, I did have the experience to, of that. But yeah, no. I would never want it for every day.
Yep. Good morning, Francesca. Good morning to you. Good morning, Francesca. Good morning to you. Good morning, Eli Family 1983. Good morning, Eli Family 1983.
Good morning, and welcome.
Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for finding us. Yeah, I think that there are definitely more practical things that kids should learn than they are being taught. They teach them such out there concepts and teach them to be book smart, but you got to also be practical smart.
Right. Yep. And Joey, like if I were to break it down into like book smart or street smart,
Mm-hmm.
Joey would be more book smart, where Jasmine would be more street smart.
Mm-hmm.
And she likes to read, but on her own terms, where Joey, he loves to read all the time. He's constantly got a book in his hand, where Jasmine doesn't. And so, I mean, they're complete opposites, which is pretty awesome. Yet
Yeah.
both have, like, it's funny. When they were in school and Joey would be picked on, he's the oldest. He would go to his little sister, because, well, she was the defender. And so it's so wild to see each of them have their own personality and growing into the adults that they're going to be. So I'm hoping that Joey gets out of his little funk that he's in, and hopefully being, kind of tailing Tommy and being taught the things that he needs, the good things that need to be done. I'm hoping that he'll, grow out of this funky
adolescent stage he's in.
Right. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, lots of prayers sent that way, please. But Jasmine, she's very independent. She is a tomboy, and she will put on a pink furry dress and jump on a motorcycle, drive around on it. I mean, she's got the best of both worlds right there, Yeah. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they are when they're adults. It really is.
Darlene B said her 18-year-old had these vehicles right after he turned 17. A 1960 GMC pickup, a 1988 Ford F-150 pickup, a 1988 Mercury Grand Marquis station wagon, and a 1969 Chevy Impala.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those are the kind of vehicles that, were like the early 60s ones were, I think my first car that I purchased was a 1963 Pontiac Catalina. That thing was a boat.
So that was
so big, it kind of floated in the road.
So was that your very first vehicle that you owned that was yours?
Yes, that's the first one that I purchased.
My very first vehicle, which was a graduation gift from my daddy, was a 79 Chevy Nova.
Oh, that's
it was cherry red with a white top.
Aw. I had a lot of beaters before I owned a nice vehicle.
Yeah, it was old and it had some rust on it, but that vehicle I will always cherish. because it was from my daddy on my graduation day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am very, very proud to have owned a 79 Chevy Nova.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Chevy girl. I'm a Ford girl.
I'm a Chevy girl now because I worked at a Chevy dealer for 15 years, you know, but
eBay reseller said first vehicle was a piece of crap. 1988 Honda Excel junk.
Honda Excel junk. Yep.
What was everybody in chat's first vehicle?
Yeah, what was the first thing that you owned? The first vehicle you owned?
Yep. Be it a gift or you bought it yourself, but your very first vehicle.
That was all yours.
I was hoping
that Pontiac Catalina, and I'm telling you, that thing was a boat. You could have fit 15 kids in there.
I wanted my dad's brown Ford truck. And my mom got into an accident with it.
Oh,
wasn't
Darlene
her
B had a 1975 Mustang too. Oh,
Ooh.
my all-time wish vehicle is a 1964 convertible Mustang red. That's my dream vehicle.
My dream car is a 1968 Shelby Mustang.
Yeah.
And I don't care what color it is. I want my grandma's. My grandma has one, and it's a replica. But I want that car.
Michelle had a 1972 Gremlin, rusted door, had to crawl out the other side. That's what I'm talking about. The kind of stuff that you had to.
I don't know if Tommy's in chat or not. Probably not, because he's getting ready to be a guest on the morning show. But he wants to put me in this car that's like a pacer or something. It's looks like a big old bubble.
Oh yeah, yeah, those pacers.
Yeah, the little.
They had a 1986 Aries K car, baby blue. I remember those.
Oh wow. Dwayne said first one that owned 76 Chevy Mazda, or I don't know if I'm saying that right. First one that actually drove was an 80 Chevy Chevette.
Monza. Drove a Chevette. 1980 Chevy Chevette. They used to call them the Chevette. The Pacer was the People Aquarium. Yes,
that's
they were.
what he wants to get me that vehicle, and I'm like,
Pacers were like, didn't they have an issue back in the day of gas tanks blowing up if they got hit from the rear? You don't want one of those.
No, I think that is I can see what the car in my head. I can't think of the name of it. I don't think it was that one. It was Pintos.
Oh yeah. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, and there was another vehicle too that was known for it where the engine was in the back instead of the front. It was a cheaper vehicle. But one of my neighbors, when I had my first apartment, had one, and yeah, it caught on fire in the parking lot. And I can't think of what the heck the name of it is.
I had a 1970 something, I can't even tell you what year, AMC Hornet station wagon at one point that was quite a piece of junk. It had my brother had to drill holes in the hood because one time I was driving down the highway and the hood sprung open. And so he put holes in the hood and little wing nuts on there. And that's how I opened and closed my hood so that it would stay down while I was driving. It was quite the machine.
So the first one was the one that had the engine in the back. It was a 2-seater. I can't think of what it is.
Oh, Denise's second was a Volkswagen, a Doodlebug, dark blue. Ooh. Those old Volkswagen Beetles, those were fun cars.
I remember growing up. Okay, so when I was little, we lived in Florida because that's where I was born. And I remember going to the beach in my grandma and grandpa's station wagon and sitting in the way back, looking up at the sky, because you could lay down back then. So I would lay down and I would look out the window and look up at the sky, and Dreamweaver would play. So anytime I hear anything to do with station wagon, stuff like that, the Fiero, thank you, honey. That's
what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Good morning, Ford fan. Good morning to you. Good morning, Ford fan, and Tommy too. Good morning, Tommy. Ford fan. How does your name Ford fan, but you owned all GM cars? That's crazy.
I think he meant good morning, all.
Oh. Yeah, I was thinking GM all, like everything he owned. I was like, wait a minute. All right, that makes sense. I was like, how in the world does that work?
That's funny. Tommy actually is a honey, you got to put it in the chat. Your favorite vehicle. You had tons of them, and this morning I don't know why my brain's going. It's like right on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, Ford fan was saying good morning all. What was your first vehicle you ever owned, Ford fan, or your dream vehicle? Oh, a Ford Probe.
He was a Ford Probe boy. He had tons of them. At one time, I think he said he had like 8 of them in his driveway.
My brother was big on, my brother loved the Mavericks. He had Mavericks. I think my brother at one point had owned like 3 Mavericks in a row.
Oh, wow. Yes. Tommy likes the first generation of Ford Probes.
The Ford Probes.
Yep. And then my brother actually, let me think of the name of it, Epsi, and I don't know why I'm having such a hard time. We're talking about cars. I love cars. I know cars. And for some reason, I cannot think of Neons.
Oh, Dodge Neon.
Yes, my brother has this thing for those. And I'm telling you, he was in my dad's garage working on his all the time. And so I don't know why he loves them so much.
Yeah. Ford fan said his first peak vehicle was a 1969 Dodge Polara station wagon. Favorite vehicle is his big F-150 sitting out in the yard. That's, yeah. Big Ford F-150.
Tommy, what was your very first vehicle?
That's a tank.
Tell everybody in chat. Your very first one that you owned, not the ones that you got from your dad at the junkyard, but the very first car that you owned. Because his dad owned a junkyard.
Oh.
And so
anything that would run, he could drive it.
Exactly. Yeah. And he did. There was times where he would drive a car to school and it would break down in the parking lot, and he'd just call his dad and he's like, yep, I'll bring you a new one, leave the keys in it, and he'd have a different car almost every single day or every week. You know, so he was very blessed in that aspect because you know, he got to drive so many different vehicles and he got to work on so many vehicles and stuff like that. So I wish that his dad, you know, we still had the junkyard, because I think it would have been awesome for the kids to experience.
Oh, heck yeah. They could take stuff apart, put them back together.
Oh, yeah.
Dwayne owned a 74 and a 76 Monza when he was 14.
Oh,
that's
wow.
awesome. Denise's first car was a Simca, foreign car.
Oh, boy.
Tommy said the first one he ever bought was a 1979 Mercury Zephyr.
Yeah, I couldn't remember that last part.
Yeah. What kind of a car is a Simca, Denise? I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Here, let me see if I can look it up. Let me pull it up.
This is kind of fun. I haven't sat and talked about old cars in a long time.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm going to screen share so you guys can see. Now, let us know if this is the car. Oh, let me get it bigger here.
Hang on, I'm trying to... There we go.
Is that it? May not be the right color, but is that the style?
Oh!
That reminds me of a spy movie.
That's a cool looking car. I think that's the way you spell it. Is that the one on the screen now, Denise? Can you see that? Is that what it looked like? That's a cool looking car.
Yeah, it reminds me of a spy car. I don't know why.
Hers looked more like a box, she said.
All right, let's see what we can find. Does this one look more boxy?
Oh, yeah.
That one looks boxy.
Yeah, it does. That's crazy. Those are cool looking cars.
Yeah, that reminds me of a spy car.
Mm-hmm.
007, you know, that kind of thing.
Darlene B. Mrs. Mercury's. Yeah. There's a lot of brands they took out.
Yeah. I don't know, did she see the car?
Did you see the one that's up there now, Denise? The blue one? Yeah, that is cool looking, Kim. I think that's cool.
Yep, she said, yeah, there you go, Des. So, yeah,
Cool.
This is what her car looked like. So this is what it looked like. Maybe not the same color, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of crazy. Well, let me see if I can find a pacer. Let's see.
That is awesome. That was fun. So,
let me find a better picture of it. One that's bigger. Okay, here we go.
Oh, Dwayne's first race car was a 1968 Chevy Nova. Woohoo!
I had a 79. This is what Tommy was.
Oh yeah, that's why they called it the People Aquarium, because it's like you could see everything in the car.
I wouldn't mind. I mean, I really wouldn't mind. It's different, but it's neat.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a thing that happens every year. It's called Automotion. It's in Wisconsin Dells, and it is my favorite time of year.
Denise said gas was 25 cents a gallon. Everyone chipped in to buy gas. Yeah, I remember when, you know, like my mom, I would be like broke and be like, can I get like $3 or $4 for gas? And that would get me back and forth to school for a few days or whatever, you know? Like, come on, till payday. $3 worth of gas. Are you kidding me? That hardly even buys you a gallon now. I mean, just over a gallon.
Yes, Kimmy, there was one. Let me pull it up so you guys can see.
Yeah, there was a Gremlin.
Let's see. I wouldn't mind having one of these bad boys.
Yeah.
It's not very big.
That's kind of like what my AMC station wagon looked like, except it had a bigger back end, but it kind of looked like a Gremlin.
That's pretty neat. I wouldn't mind having one of those either. So, honey, if you're listening, hint, hint. You said you wanted a little car to get around.
You don't see those around on the road much anymore, do you?
What's that?
You don't see those much on the road anymore. It used to be a super popular car.
And the thing is, too, is, you know, like the only time we see like a lot of old vintage amazing cars is during Automotion, and that's coming up in May. And so I'm stoked. I'm stoked. We didn't go last.
Good morning to Sandy. Good morning to you. Good morning to Sandy. Good morning to you.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
Sandy. Did you see the link if you want to hop in, or it's up to you?
See Javelin.
I know you've been up late a couple of nights. I've seen that you've had, when I get up early, I see that you've had some later streams. AMC Javelin.
Yep, I'm looking that up right now.
Yeah.
This was an attempt at a muscle car.
AMC's attempt at a muscle car. Those were like muscle cars. They were big when I was in high school. Everybody wanted a muscle car. Oh, let's add it. Just waking up. That I understand, Sandy. Do what's right for you. Is it not? Hello. Come on, Tracy's computer. Get off. What? Oh, no. Oh, add to stream. There we go. Oh, now I got dust twice.
Yeah.
Oh. What's going on here? Add Destiny back. There we go.
I don't know what that was.
I don't know what I'm doing. Round and round we go. That's right, Kim. I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, I froze. Everything just said not responding, not responding. I'm like, what in the world? All I was trying to do was show this car.
Yeah. Denise said sporty Novas were the car back in her days. Yeah, that's what, like, everybody wanted a souped up Nova with big tires on the back. And oh, yeah.
Okay, there we go. This is the AMC Javelin.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually really nice.
I remember those.
That is really nice.
That was the car.
All right, let's go back over here. The Javelin broke the internet.
Yep.
It just didn't want to show itself yet.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Exactly. Oy vey.
Right. Thank you,
The
Kim.
birds are quiet this morning.
They are. Well, the parakeets are on top of their cage.
Yeah.
And Mr. Pickles is using one of his stands because the way he's got two perches. And one is this way inside the cage, and the other one is this way outside the cage. And so he's sitting on the perch inside, talking to the back of the perch that's going out the cage. It's the microphone, but they're really, really quiet today. So
yeah.
Some
days they're like
very loud
until you go and get them, and then it's like I haven't heard them, and we've been talking. All of a sudden, I realized, gosh, I haven't heard Dus's birds.
Yeah, that's because the only one blind is open. If this one and this one were open, they'd be louder.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the hang of it. Sometimes doesn't matter, but most of the time. And then Joey put a piece of driftwood branch up on the top and then secured it. And so all three of them like to go up and down that all the time.
Oh, cool.
The duckies are good. They're in the backyard loving the snow.
That's crazy. They like the snow?
Yeah. Well, okay. So Akana ducks, they are a northern duck.
Since they don't migrate.
Yep, they are. So they actually can withstand up to negative 50 degrees below zero, or however you say that. And so the only time that they come in is when it's really cold outside, and with the wind chill, it's going to be below that. And usually I bring them in when it's -30 out, because I don't want them to be out there when it's a lot colder than that. But they like January because the snow and the ice, we get like a spurt of warm air, and so things start to melt, and they like to use our back walkway as a slip and slide.
So, but that's fun to watch.
It is fun to watch, and I wish I would have recorded, could catch it and record it, but because it's such a funny thing, I'm laughing so hard that I can't keep the camera straight. So, but yeah, they're doing pretty good. They are right now. I think I said this the other day. They're raising a cat out in the backyard.
Yeah, you did say.
Yeah, and so Joey's been taking a little bit of cat food out there.
Did you say they were raised by a cat?
Yes.
Originally?
Bellfire. Yep, Bellfire. My cat Bellfire helped raise them, and he was like their daddy, and they were his babies, and he didn't let any other animal in the backyard when he was around. And now that he's no longer here, he's in Illinois. He was stolen. They kind of carried on that tradition of taking care of the wilder kittens that come into, or the neighborhood wildcats.
Right.
They've taken on them. So, but yeah, he's a little black kitty with a little bit of white, and he's really adorable. When the people here moved, they left all their cats outside.
Oh, I hate that when people do stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's just so unnecessary, because you can take them places.
Right. And see, they said they caught as many as they could and took them to the Humane Society. But there were still a few that they couldn't catch. And well, I know this one's been hiding out in the duck house. So, but yeah, and I'm sure he smells like, or he or she smells like duck, because Bellfire, when he would come in, he would smell like duck. And so it was crazy. And we always knew when he was with the ducks, because when he would come in, it was like, oh, you need a bath. You smell like duck. And so, not that it's a bad thing, but it's just a very strong smell.
Yeah.
When you're enclosed in a duck house with them.
Yeah.
But when they come in, they get a bath. They get to play in the bathtub. And then last year, funny thing, we brought them in, and they're too big to both be in the tub now. And so we put one in at a time. And Shiloh was being sassy, and Jasmine kind of was like splashing him a little bit, and he took his wings and he went whoosh, and she was drenched.
Oh my goodness.
It was the funniest thing. Yes, Dwayne, duck, kitten. Yes, it's very strange. Our animals, I don't think, know that they're animals, because we don't treat them like animals. We treat them like humans, and they get spoiled and they get loved, and they, so I don't think any of our animals think they or know that they are the animal that they're supposed to be.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. And I actually just found a bunch of videos and pictures and stuff of them. So I'm going to do a video, an upload of the pictures I have of the ducks. And then I have one with the birds I'm going to do. And then I have one with Miss Gabby that I'm going to do. So.
Yep. That'll be cool.
Yeah. But I will be right back. I have to use the restroom. My
Okie doke. Okie dokie. So what's new, anybody? What's new? We talked about cars, and if anyone that's come in since we started, Miss Darlene had a doctor's appointment this morning, and that is why she is not on this morning. She was going to the orthopedic doctor this morning to find out if they think it is worth her going back to the pain management clinic to get another injection or not. They didn't seem to be working for her, but we'll see what they say today. Hopefully, good news. I do not have any pets. I have grand puppies. I have a grand puppy that lives with my son that lives right around the corner named Piper. And Piper, she is a good puppy. She comes over with my son when he stops by. He always brings the dog along. My other son has a dog. And my son's ex-wife that we see who lives around the corner from my son, the one that lives around the corner from me, she lives not too far. She's got 2 dogs, so definitely lots of grand puppies in my life, but none in my home. Yeah, Piper was a rescue. She, my son works for the sheriff's department. He works for the sheriff's department part-time on a volunteer basis, and they went on a call for a suicide, and the guy had committed suicide, and Piper was in a kennel in this guy's apartment, and Jimmy took the dog out for a walk while they were waiting for the medical examiner and stuff to get there. And then a couple weeks later, all of his buddies from the sheriff's department were texting him and saying, hey, did you see what dog's available? And at the animal shelter, they had named her Piper, that because no one knew what her name really was, that she was available for adoption. And because he works for through the sheriff's department, he was able to get a big discount on adopting her. So he adopted her just before his house was ready, and so she did live at my house for a little bit of time, but she still gets babysat here too. So that's cool. But here comes Miss Sandy. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm just waking up, but you were in there by yourself and you look very, very lonely.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So I came in to say, hi.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm crazy as ever. Just trying to start my day.
Yeah. You've had a couple late night streams lately. You've been having trouble sleeping.
Yeah. That's what happens when you get old.
I know. That's what they tell me. That's what they tell me when I complain about not sleeping on a regular basis. The doctor will say that's just kind of how it goes.
Yep. But how is everybody else in the chat? Aroo. So Miss Thing is at the doctor's, huh?
Yep, she had to go to the orthopedic doctor today. And Denise said, thank goodness you're still Sandy. Yeah, Denise was having some pain today. She was having a rough morning, but...
Well, I usually wake up, take a pain pill, and then wait.
Let that work a little bit before you try to move. Yeah.
Wait to see what my day is going to be, so...
That's kind of what I do. Get that first pill in me and then give that a chance to work and then see how much I can actually move.
Yep. I don't try to move out of bed without taking a pain pill first and waiting a little while.
Especially after you have slept for a few hours. Even if it's a few hours, I always seem like I'm so stiff first thing.
Yep. I am too. And as long as the dogs aren't screaming, we're okay.
Yep. As long as they're not, they got to go out. That's kind of a vital thing. When they got to go, they got to go.
Yep. If they start screaming, then I got to go.
Yep.
But so far, so good. So what's today? Thursday, right?
Thursday.
Wow. I don't know. I seem to have Fridays and everything in between is a blur.
Yep. I know. It seems like this week just started. I mean, we had the ice slush sleet mess storm last weekend, and now it's almost the weekend again, and now they're talking about 6 to 9 inches of snow. Ugh.
Oh.
So I'm not looking forward to that, but at least it's coming on the weekends.
Yeah. I think Dwayne has gotten more snow than we have down here.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. They'll get a massive snowstorm and it won't come down this far. I'm south of him.
Yeah.
And I think there's some mountains in between, and I think the storm
that
hits
kind of
those
buffers
mountains and keeps it from coming this way, you know.
Yep.
So but everybody's getting excited now about going to Tucson at the end of the month.
Oh yeah, that's coming up. That'll be fun.
Yeah, and
I don't know if Tucson can handle the 3 of you in all together, but
and get this, talked to Sosie last night and she's coming.
oh boy.
So Nostalgia Seeker will be with us also.
So you have Sosie,
Gianna, Vicky, and Cindy.
And Cindy. Yeah. That'll be wow.
If you feel the earth move under your feet, you'll know why.
Yeah. All the girls are in Tucson.
Yep.
Yeah, Dwayne says, watch out, Tucson. Oh boy.
I don't think Tucson will ever be the same.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Denise, that's going to be terrible on your body. They've been having 80-degree temps in Georgia, and the cold front's supposed to come through, and their temperatures are going to drop to 50s for the highs.
Ooh.
That's going to be heck on her pain.
Yeah.
Yep. Tommy's hurting right now because we got a snowstorm that's coming.
Yeah, we have that. They're telling us we're going to get 6 to 9 this weekend.
Yep. That's what we're supposed to get. And I
Not
don't know if it's going to hit us or not because they had everything hyped up last weekend that we were going to get hit with snow. We were supposed to get 12 inches and this and that. And no, if we didn't get hit with it.
Yeah.
So, I don't
know. They were talking last weekend for us to get like 1.5 inches to 2 inches of freezing rain ice buildup, but that didn't happen, thank goodness. So we didn't lose power.
I think those ice storms are harder than the snow.
Yeah,
because they accumulate on the electrical wires and that.
Yep, and the branches that are over the wires and.
Yeah, about 7 years ago, we lived out by the lake, which is right outside town here, and we had an ice storm, and it knocked out power. It knocked out everything. Everything had to close. And so the only place that was open was this little cafe. And because we had no power for heat for 8 hours, everybody was like congregated in there because they were the only ones that had heat and electric and stuff. So yeah, which was probably about, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes from the house. So yeah, ice storms are really bad up here.
We had last February an ice storm that knocked our power out for 4 days. We had to leave home and go to a hotel. It wasn't, even though, it was a decent hotel, it's still not home. It's just not comfortable.
Right.
Good morning, Pearl Nini. Good morning to you. Good morning, Pearl Nini. Good morning to you.
Hi, Pernini.
Hello.
Where does Kim A live? She said it was 70 last weekend, and now they've got snow this weekend.
Weekend snow. She's in New Jersey.
Oh, okay. New Jersey.
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
That's not gonna be fun. Yeah.
I don't know what our weather is going to be. I think Cinnamon, who's in Oregon, said that they were getting a storm. Usually when they get a storm, then it comes this way and hits us. Dwayne, are we supposed to get bad weather coming in? He probably watches the news more than I do.
Yeah, I'm a news junkie. I watch that couple hours in the morning, couple hours at night. Kim A's about 15 minutes from Philadelphia. That makes sense then, that you get the 70s one weekend and snow. That's such a unpredictable there along the coastline there.
Yeah.
Now, see, Dwayne, I would have figured that you did watch the weather. I watch news, but it's national news.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I try to catch the local weather and the national news, because the local news is just depressing. I don't want to hear about that stuff. But not that the national news doesn't sometimes get depressing, but I want to know what's going on in the country and the world, you know?
Yeah, and it's out of Salt Lake, which is 2 hours away. So,
It's not
it
real.
really doesn't affect me. So,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't pay much attention to it.
Well, and that's all of our bad stuff that seems to happen. Not all, a lot of our bad stuff that happens in a very specific area of town. And it's just not a great area. And that's where that's where the 3 murders we've had this year so far have happened. And I just try to I don't need to hear that all the time.
No.
It's like you said, that's a ways away from me, and it doesn't really affect me directly. And
when I was in Albuquerque, you could have just about taken the news and picked any day in the past year and replayed it, and it would have been prevalent for that day. It was the same old thing. There was a shooting here, there was a car chase there. There were, it was every single day, and that's when I got.
Yeah, it gets old.
Yeah,
the news, watching the local news.
That's what happens on our local news. They'll talk about a shooting and then the investigation. By the time they start to wear that story out, there's another shooting and investigation, and it just gets monotonous.
Yeah, Milwaukee's really bad with that stuff. Lots of car chases, lots of shootings, and they don't find the people that are doing the shootings. And so it's crazy.
Yeah.
In that area of town that happens here, they do have a tendency to not cooperate with the police, which is typical of any high crime area. They tend to not want to talk to the police and not want to. Good morning, Handmade Designs. Good morning to you. Good morning, Handmade Designs. Good morning to you.
Well, get this. I used to live in Colorado in the San Luis Valley, which is in the center of the state down towards New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 11 people in this town that I lived in. 11. You heard me right.
Oh, my goodness. 11.
Wow.
And we had a mass murderer.
Oh, my goodness.
Came from that town, lived in Denver, and would bring the bodies down and bury them right outside of town.
Oh, my goodness.
I thought, really?
That's crazy.
Out in the boondocks.
Yeah.
Had to travel 50 miles to get to a grocery store, and we've got a mass murderer down here.
That's insane.
That is crazy.
Crazy.
It's a crazy world.
Yeah, the town that we live in now, it's rumored that the mob used to bring their dead bodies up here and dispose of them. Yeah, and we have a lot of wooded area. A lot of wooded areas. And so I can't confirm or not confirm the rumor. They have just recently, actually, a hunter came across a body in the woods right down the road from us.
Oh, lovely.
It was a woman that disappeared back in May from the house. And I think it was two years ago, like a country block down, they found a dead body from an overdose that the people pulled him outside and put a sheet of plywood over him and left him. And yeah, I mean, we have a lot of that around here. It's like, yeah, time to stay in the house. Don't want to go outside.
We're good here, like I said, as long as you stay out of there's a couple of really rougher areas, and as long as you stay out of those areas, you're pretty good in Grand Rapids. You can go downtown, which we have a really nice downtown area that they've really built up in the last probably 20 years.
KFC?
What?
You have a KFC?
Oh, yeah.
My dad owns that.
We have KFC. We have Popeyes.
Yeah, my dad owns that building or that KFC.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure it was the same place. Yeah, he owns KFC in Michigan and in Wisconsin.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's a KFC owner.
I don't know, guys. Is it just me, or has the value, respect for human beings deteriorated in the past 50 years?
Yes, absolutely. It is not just you. The value of a human life is so easily tossed aside.
We seem to have throwaway people, a whole section of society that people don't value them as much as other people. Am I seeing that right, or is it just?
Yeah, you are.
You are.
It's almost like the more disposable our lives have gotten, the more disposable human life has gotten.
Yeah, it just.
I mean, back in the day when you were friends with somebody, you were friends with them. And what I've noticed about living in the town that I'm in is you don't need enemies if you have friends that do like what this gentleman went through. Granted, all they would have had to do was call 911 and the guy would have had help, but they just took him outside and threw him behind the shed and covered him up with plywood. I mean, you don't need enemies when you have friends.
Because they didn't want to get busted. Good morning, Leticia. Good morning to you. Good morning, Leticia. Good morning to you.
And that's the thing, save the person. Don't just toss.
Lynn said she thinks it's changed a lot in 10 years. I was going to say like at least the last 10 to 20 for sure. I've seen a huge shift. Huge shift.
Now, do you think it's because the drug epidemic has gotten so bad that people?
No, I think it's just that our lives have gotten so fast paced and so much like our kids are programmed that if they break something, they can just get something new, that people just have started to devalue what a human life really means. And it's not a big deal for a 14, 15, 16-year-old to shoot and kill another 14, 15, 16-year-old. And they just don't even think about that person is a human being that has a life and family. And
Well, there seems to be a huge lack of empathy and compassion for anybody outside their little circle.
Their little circle. Exactly. That's exactly it. The empathy and compassion are totally gone.
I mean, guys, as far as I'm concerned, there absolutely should not be a single veteran living on the streets.
I agree. I agree.
They have given us service and protected us and kept us safe and with the freedoms that we have. And we've got thousands
of homeless vets.
You know, and we just don't seem to care as a society.
Exactly. And it's a sad state of affairs that and people have gotten so used to a homeless population that they just can walk and drive right by a homeless population and not even think twice about these are human beings that are living under the bridges and, out in the cold. And
yeah, we can spend billions of dollars on war, and we can't spend money on taking care of them when they come back with PTSD and
right.
I and not able to get a job because we don't deprogram them after we program them. We just turn them loose,
Right.
Yeah. When I did my PTSD video yesterday, I did talk about one of my brothers. Now, I had two brothers that served in the military, did a couple tours each. And I know my one brother that I talked about yesterday on my video, when he left, he was not a violent person. He was kind of meek and mild. He came back and he was very violent. He was very angry. And a lot of times they don't talk about what they see over there. So we have no idea what he saw over there that turned him into that person when he came back. And now, because he has family for support, he has, all that, he's worked through a lot of that stuff and he's not as angry as he used to be. He still has a temper, but he's able to control it more now. And I so wish that all veterans, all people who served in the military that go through that had that support system. I really
Good morning, Food Forest. Good morning to you. Good morning, Food Forest. Good morning to you.
Food Forest said, if the poor received what was given for the poor, we would have no poor.
Yeah.
Dwayne,
but that's just it. These guys come back with PTSD so bad that they have a hard time keeping a full-time job or preserving the family that they had before they were deployed into a war zone, and then they end up on the streets without any help because their mental health won't allow them to work a full-time job.
Right.
I knew that there were homeless people, but I had never experienced it. Like I never saw it until we went to Vegas.
Yeah, when you see we have a certain homeless population here in West Michigan, but not like they had when we lived in Georgia for a couple of years, where the temperature is more moderate throughout the whole year. There was literally hundreds and hundreds of homeless people in the Savannah area.
Yeah, and it kind of gave me that oh wow moment, or you know what I'm saying? Because I never knew like I never seen it. So, you hear about it, but you don't really know the impact until you see it. And there was so many, and it was just like, I just wanted to like help them, but I didn't know how. And so it made it very real.
That's the problem, though, is that the government as a whole, speaking of all municipal governments and stuff as a whole, have a tendency to look at homeless populations as disposable, and they don't have a tendency to get out and vote or whatever, so they're not affecting the politician, so the politician is able to just put them out of their mind, and they don't think twice about what could be done to help them.
Dwayne, is that music video on YouTube, or where would we find that?
Where would we find that?
To watch it.
The music video for Wrong Side of Heaven by Five Finger Death Punch.
I wrote it down because I'd like to see it. But yeah, we've kind of gotten programmed to be dismissive.
Yes.
To those people, we're blind to them. We don't see them anymore. I don't know. Yeah,
people come completely blind, and they tune it out, and they will walk by and just not even.
They're the invisible society.
Yes.
In society, Yep. But
definitely,
the billions of dollars we spend on war, if we would bring that, and I'm not trying to be political, guys, I'm just saying that if we would bring that money home, our roads and bridges would be in better shape.
Mm-hmm.
There wouldn't be the poverty and children going hungry.
Yeah.
It's like children go hungry in America. Really?
Mm-hmm. Oh. I just saw a thing the other day about how many kids are behavioral problems on Monday mornings because they've been hungry all weekend, and they go to school and they haven't had enough to eat all weekend. They may have had something, but not enough to sustain them all weekend. And until they get to the school where they can get free breakfast and free lunch and start getting their bellies full again, they're a behavioral problem, and that's sad. No kid should go hungry all weekend.
And I know in our town, like our county, and I'm not trying to diss it, we live here, but our county in the state of Wisconsin is one of the poorest counties in Wisconsin. And there are so many children in the elementary, in the middle school, in the high school that are going hungry because their parents are spending the money on other things that they shouldn't be spending it on.
Right.
And they have addictions. And so they don't get the food that they need. And so a lot of it makes sense that Mondays are here because we have a scanner page. If you look at our scanner page, Mondays are very big for the police getting called to school because the kids are acting up. And if they're not acting up, it's because they're medicated, because they force the parents to put their kids on medication. And so they're either a zombie or they're a troublemaker. And
Food Forest Permaculture said, let's spread peace. Amen.
Amen to that. And
Amen.
So it makes sense now to me, that would cause the behavioral stuff. I mean, I guess I never really thought about it that way, but knowing a lot of the history with our county, it makes sense.
Denise said her husband used to buy food and blankets and give to homeless people when he was working in law enforcement. Definitely. Or let them know places they could go to get some help. But it has gotten to where the government so easily turns a blind eye to that population, and it's just a sad situation.
They don't vote.
Right. so they can ignore them because they don't.
Yep.
And it's sad.
Mm-hmm. It's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to mute and get the dogs out before they start screaming here.
Okay.
And I will be back in just a minute.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's. Letitia said her son-in-law gives bottled water and blankets to the homeless. Yeah, we have at my church, we have a once a week, and there are other churches that do it different days of the week, so it kind of makes for a week.
Mm-hmm.
We have where different groups from our church make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches,
Mm-hmm.
and then somebody takes them down to the poor area in our city and delivers them at lunch hour and passes them out, because peanut butter and jelly is something that they can eat now if they're hungry, or save for later if they know they're going to be hungry later.
Right.
And
I have a friend. Yeah, I have a friend that her and her family moved down to Arizona, and she started volunteering to feed the homeless down there. And she says it's one of the most rewarding things that she has ever done, because the smiles on their face make it all worthwhile, you know. And so it's
a sad situation, because there's a lot of people that live literally paycheck to paycheck, and if they lost a source of income, could be homeless tomorrow.
Right.
But yet it's so easy for people to ignore the homeless population, and it's like some of them are homeless through no real fault of their own. Some of them are homeless because of their behavior and their issues, but sometimes it's a mental health issue that they don't have control of, and they're not getting treated for, and they just need treatment.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have people that are homeless because they choose to be homeless.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so there's what in the heck? Sorry, my phone just went crazy. So you have all the different levels of homelessness, and because of going to Vegas and it opening my eyes, I have done research on it, but I don't here. We do a lot of food drives and stuff like that because we are one of the poorest counties in Wisconsin. So, we have 2 different food pantries that are open during the week. And then we have one that's once a month. And, and the lines for those places are just so long. And so it's wild to see. I don't put it into words where it sounds like.
Food Forest said that the universities here on Vancouver Island did a study 2 months ago, and $1 billion is given to the less fortunate, and people on the boards get $250,000 each, and 3% make it to the poor. That is terrible.
That is terrible. That is very terrible. And like I said,
you think about if more like 97% actually made it to the poor, and 3% was the infrastructure of the charity, so to speak, that how many more poor people that could actually help. That's just insane.
Yeah, it is. I wish I could do more, but I need to, at this point, and I'm not trying to sound cold-hearted or anything, but my kids are young yet, and so they're my first priority.
Well, and as they should be.
And if whatever I can do extra with that, I will do. But, I need to make sure that my kids are taken care of. And I send prayers, and I will do what I need, can do. But it's a problem that needs to be addressed. And
absolutely.
fixed. It really does.
We have a program that my aunt has actually volunteered for. I would have liked to and would like to, but I would have to get a ride, and B, it's a standing job. But my aunt has volunteered at a place called Kids Food Basket here in town, where they actually make sack dinners, and they take them to the elementary schools in the poor neighborhoods and give them to kids to take home for a meal later in the evening, because they can get free breakfast and free lunch. And then that gives them a dinner meal to eat. And then they also give them a few extra things on the weekends, on Friday afternoon when they leave, a few extra like granola bars and stuff that will keep.
Now, one thing that our school district does, and I don't think it is actually intertwined with the school district, is during the summer at noon, Monday through Friday, we have parks, different parks, where a truck will come and they give kids lunch. And so I know that Joseph and Jasmine absolutely love the ladies that that do this, that hand out the food and stuff, and they'll go and they'll visit with them and stuff like that, and they will give them lunch. And you know, it's a good program, a good idea. And you know, at one park it's from this time to this time, then another park it's from, you know, this time to this time, and so on and so forth. So every, you know, they try to make sure that every child that is hungry is fed even during the summer. And so I like that program. And then they have on Fridays at the school, you have to sign up for it, but they send a paper bag home with each student that signed up for it. And it sounds just like what they do here with the granola bars. They get a bag of chips, so that it's not all healthy stuff, carrots, juices, stuff like that, and they get to take that home for over the weekend. But that only goes so far, you know. And so a lot of times the kids, I've noticed, like the kids in our neighborhood, we notice that they're walking home and eating it, because it's probably the last thing they're going to eat before they get home. And so I know the people in the corner here just moved out. And honestly, and it may sound bad, I'm very thankful that they moved. Very thankful that they moved, because now our neighborhood isn't stressed out, I'm not worried about having to go in spring and check in between the two houses for drug paraphernalia and stuff like that. They're gone. And so my kids may actually get to be able to go outside and not have to worry about if somebody gets mad, you know. So and the poor landlord has been cleaning that place out since the first of this month. So 16 days straight he has been at that house cleaning it out.
Oh my goodness.
Burning stuff. He's been throwing a lot of garbage away. He's painted inside, you know, and so he's cleaning up the house. And I'm like, I went outside the second day he was burning, and I was like, oh, what in the heck is he burning? It smelled like something had died. It was horrible. But Tommy and I were talking, and I was like, well, hopefully he learns to screen his tenants better. So pray that we get really good people next door, because we need it. And we still have to deal with the house a couple doors down, but that's calmed down since they moved. And so like the other night, I went out to my truck and to make sure that it was locked and everything, and we had like 40 teens 2 houses down from us.
Oh my goodness.
And they were split up into 2 groups, and they were yelling at each other back and forth.
Oh, like, for goodness sake.
Great. You know? And granted, when I went outside, all of a sudden they kind of like, you could hear them yelling, went to the truck, made sure it was locked, went to walk back in the house, and they all stopped and stared at me. And I'm like, yep, I'm an adult. Let's go. You know,
move along, kids.
Yeah, move along. Let's go here, you know. And then it got real quiet after that. But, you know, it's living in a small town is okay. And I never, because I'm from a small town, I never thought that saying that living in a small town would be okay. And I never thought I'd hear the words, I need to move to a bigger city.
Yeah.
Oh, my brother laughs at me about that. Like, we need to move to a bigger city. So, I don't know. It's crazy. It really is how everything plays out. And
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So we have my son, who's definitely a small town boy. You can definitely tell he's from a small town. And then you have Jaslyn, who is in a small town, but thinks she's in a big city.
But she's more worldly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can relate.
She's our social butterfly where Joey's not. So village is a place of sharing and caring. Communities are I can't see that word.
Are a detriment to humans like guns, drugs, and sins of the most vile. I've cried many times seeing this and pray every day for it to stop. Amen.
Yeah, amen to that, for sure. And that's the thing, you know. We had an opportunity to either move to Milwaukee or to move to a small town. And I was not, because I lived in Milwaukee before. And I used to volunteer at the food pantry that was right down, I think it was like 4 blocks away from where I lived. And that was very rewarding, you know, being able to help other people. But I saw things around the house that I lived in that I would have never wanted my kids to grow up around. So we decided to move to a small town. We lived out by the lake and it was great, but we didn't like the school that the kids went to. The principal was shifty. And so we moved into town. And it's all the same school district, but it was out in the country type school.
Right.
And so we moved into town. We loved it. And then all of a sudden it was like we had to find a house that was right next door, right in the middle of the whole negative things that we wanted to stay away from when it came to Milwaukee. And then we were here for like 2 or 3 years. And they shut the school down that the kids used to go to and moved that principal into the school that they were in.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, are you kidding me? And so they took the awesome principal and gave the job to the town drunk. You know, and I was like, yep, not going to let the kids go into that school. No, they're not going back.
My dad had his heart transplant and actually passed away at St. Luke's Hospital in Milwaukee.
Oh, really?
Yep, that's where he received his heart transplant and where he went for the heart doctor the last few years of his life, and where he eventually passed away at St. Luke's. So I've been in Milwaukee many times when he was in the hospital.
Yeah, when Tommy had a stroke, I think that's where he was.
Yeah.
He had a stroke a year before him and I actually got together. And you look at him, you really can't tell physically that he had a stroke, but like his hand still goes numb and stuff like that. And, and St. Luke's is supposed to be like one of the top-notch heart places.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I've never been there, so I don't really know for sure, but just based on what I've read and what Tommy has told me, it's one of the top notch.
St. Luke's was way ahead of even in Grand Rapids as a pretty huge town.
I know.
But St. Luke's there in Milwaukee was ahead of the hospitals here in Grand Rapids on heart transplant and stuff like that. So I was just grateful because my dad lived in just outside of Fond du Lac. So
Okay.
it wasn't that big of a, it was a drive, but not huge to go to Milwaukee to St. Luke's where they were better prepared. In fact, they transferred him from a hospital after his original heart attack. They transferred him from a hospital in Fond du Lac down to St. Luke's in Milwaukee because they were better equipped. Hello again.
Hello. I'm sorry. I guess I bounced myself out, or the dogs hit the whatever.
That's fine.
You're back, and that's what matters.
I heard you were messing with Darlene. I'm gonna have to go back and check that when you would put her up on the screen when she wasn't expecting.
Well, I'm a big goof, guys. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's half the fun, Sandy. When you've gotten her a couple of times really good for some funny things that the rest of us have gotten a good laugh out of,
My favorite is the robot. The robot voice.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't I get her 2 or 3 times in the same morning doing that?
Yes,
you did. And that's why I couldn't breathe by the time. I was laughing so hard. It was so funny. And at first I was like, uh-oh, her computer's acting up. And then I caught on because it threw me into a flashback with Tommy doing that to Darlene and I was like, I was trying so, and I thought she would have caught on when I said Sandy pulled a Tommy, and she didn't catch on. And I was like, without actually going and saying, Darlene, she's messing with you, I thought that saying she's pulling a Tommy, she would have realized, but she didn't.
And she was leaning in and trying to hear.
It was so great.
Mm-hmm.
She's too easy. I mean, it's like, oh, Darlene, you are just too easy to mess with.
It was great. Me and Lizanne, we were laughing so hard.
And Lizanne, I
thought Lizanne was going to fall off her chair.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And if you guys don't know what the robot is, she was having trouble with her computer that morning. So I started talking like this. And and she
thought her computer was messing up, and she couldn't hear Sandy.
She kicked herself out and then bring herself in, thinking that would help, and then Sandy would do it again, and it was just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have arms on my chair because I probably would have fallen out from laughing. So it kind of braced me in.
Mm-hmm. AJC Magic said she thought you were having a stroke. No, she really just thought her computer was messing up, and it was just hilarious. Because Sandy just had her so convinced that her computer was messed up, and she just totally went with it.
Oh, gosh. And I really thought she was going to catch on, so that's why I did it again. And I was waiting for her. And I got off of that video that day. She didn't know until she went back and rewatched
it. Yep.
What I had done to her. And then she was really kind of unhappy with me.
She was trying to be unhappy with you, but it wasn't working.
But she knew it was funny.
Oh gosh, it was, yeah.
It was great.
But my mantra is, guys, and I've had this mantra for probably 40 years, is that I want to bring a smile to somebody's face every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And now I have this platform that I can bring smiles and laughs every single day. So
exactly.
Yep. I get excited when I see that you go live, even though I don't always get your notifications. And I'll come in and I'll put it up while I'm doing something else and listen, and I'm cracking up. When you and Mama get together.
Oh yeah, it's a dangerous combination when we get together.
It's great. It is absolutely great.
Mama enjoys that. That's the highlight of her day.
Yep, or trying to steal Tommy, which I will gladly give. She doesn't have to steal.
The one that everybody likes is Trixie. When Trixie shows up, that's
when Trixie shows up. Yep,
Vicky's
alter personality.
Yeah, especially when she's had a glass of sangria. All bets are off. So we're going to see if we can get Trixie to come out while we're in Tucson.
Oh, that would be funny.
Can you imagine all three of us in the same room, guys?
No, it's going to be something.
It's going to explode. And I think we have a Steals and Deals auction that weekend.
Oh, boy. That would be fun.
Yeah. So
Destiny just posted Sandy's channel, Sandy's YouTube channel. If you do not have Sandy in your subscriptions, you really should get to know, click on that and get to know Sandy. She does some wonderful work and they just have a great time. The conversation is always fun with Ella in Berlin, Germany, and Mama down in Alabama, and when Vicky was there, and when Vicky can come on, even when she's home, you know, the conversation is always worth the trip, and the stuff Sandy makes is always worth watching.
Yes, it is.
So get to know her.
You love her.
This is the one we made yesterday.
Ooh.
Oh, see,
isn't that an incredible stone?
That is beautiful. Oops.
Yeah, I'm gonna make Sandy big.
Okay, in the left-hand upper corner, there's a box down below where I show up.
There you go. Layout. There you go. Thank you. Oh, I like that.
Designs on the band too.
Yeah, yeah. There's a. So
that is beautiful.
I make this live, and this is called Kaleidoscope Jasper.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
And it just looks like God took a bunch of rocks and threw it in a bucket, mixed them all up, and then just
made a rock out of it.
Yeah.
Yep. That is cool.
Quit showing my stone. Dwayne said stop showing a stone.
That is so cool.
But Dwayne, I'm stoned all the time, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to withhold my coffee.
Yeah, but yeah, that stuff. Okay, up to $3. He said.
Well, he bid $1 on it, and he went going once, going twice, sold to Dwayne for $1.
Oh.
While I was making this ring, and then later on he was up to $2. So now, oh my God, Dwayne is up to $3 for this ring.
Good morning to Jennifer. Good morning to you. Good morning to Jennifer. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning, Jennifer. Welcome.
And I think
that is a beautiful stone, though, Sandy. That is beautiful, and the set in that setting is, of course, makes it even more gorgeous. But
well, and Dwayne bought a bracelet from me last Friday at the auction and gave it to Heather, and I think you did pretty good on that purchase because she texted me and said she loved the bracelet. So
awesome.
I didn't make it. I just was reselling it. It was a sterling silver with a gold overlay, and I think it had amethyst in it.
Ooh,
wow!
But yeah,
I can't wait to see what you get at Tucson.
At Tucson,
yeah.
Like
I
I need more rocks.
I know, but then you have to have Vicky come up again just to go through and show rocks at Sandy's house.
I have
Wayne
a
said their
question.
anniversary is January 30th.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
Do you work with marble too? Or do you know anything about marble?
A little bit.
Do you know? So I have this piece. Let me go grab it real quick so you see what I'm talking about. I got it at the thrift store, but I love it.
Yeah, we're going to have fun in Tucson. There are a couple shows that I cannot take a video in the show, but we're going to try and sneak some.
Awesome.
I figure I could turn my phone on and stick my phone.
Oh yeah, like in your pocket.
And because it's overwhelming to walk into these big ballrooms and see all of these vendors with all of these stones. It's
my goodness, I bet.
I'd be in heaven.
All right, Des, I'm gonna make you big now that I know how to do
so
this.
I have one of these, right?
Yeah.
I can't.
A mortar and pestle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very heavy. Okay, when I got it at the thrift store, somebody had super glued this together.
Yeah.
Didn't last.
Okay.
How do I reconnect this to where I can use it and it stay together?
I would get some DevCon 5-minute epoxy.
Okay, let me write that down because I want to fix it. I love it. I used to have a rolling pen and a utensil holder that was all marble, but my grandfather loved it, so I gave it to him a while back, and then I found this. So what is it? It's called what?
The manufacturer is DevCon, DEVCON.
Okay.
And it's a 2-part 5-minute epoxy.
Oh yeah, I've seen stuff like that.
And the best way actually to fix that would be to drill a hole in the center of it on both pieces.
Okay.
And then put a metal rod in between it and then epoxy them together.
Okay.
If you have a way that Tommy might be able to do that, to just
it would strengthen the joint. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because it works good. I have small hands, so it works for me. Doing it this way with the herbs and stuff. But Tommy.
Good morning to Derek. Good morning to you. Good morning to Derek. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Derek. So yeah,
buddy.
Right now it's just a decoration.
Yeah.
Get it fixed, and then
and the 5-minute epoxy might be strong enough to hold it together if you're kind of careful when that you don't put undue pressure on it, in a strange way. But,
yeah, because you can see where they tried to glue it.
Yeah, you need to get all that off. So just take some acetone or fingernail polish remover and get all of that stuff off.
Okay.
And then once you glue it together, don't touch it for at least 24 hours. Just leave it, let it cure.
Yeah.
And then
next.
And then I just had it, and I bet you I put it back. I think I've shown you this before.
Okay, can you make her? Oh,
I'll make her big.
That crystal. Yeah.
Now, do you work with this stuff too? I can't remember. I don't know what kind of stone this is. I think it's a crystal.
Yeah, it's a quartz crystal.
Okay. Is this hard to work with? To make jewelry with?
What do you want done with it?
I'd like to have a ring with a round stone in it. And then there's this piece here.
Yeah.
That I'd like to turn into like a little necklace pendant.
Okay. Probably could, but it's not going to be cheap.
It's not going to be cheap. Okay.
No.
That's sad.
It would be it would be cheaper for me to just buy a quartz crystal and a already cabbed stone in Tucson in a couple of weeks. And
Okay.
unless that particular piece has sentimental value or, whatever.
It is the biggest one I have, a biggest stone I have. And I usually will have this on like the main wall, sitting that has the window.
Yeah.
And then I put smaller ones on the inside windows, kind of like a protection thing. It's kind of weird.
No, it's not weird at all.
I was told it was weird, but I feel like they give me positive energy. It like keeps all the negativity out. And so I've done it for years, but.
Well, I've started carrying, I found this the other day, a little pouch with my rocks in it. I've got my rocks in it to help me out. And no,
Hold that up again, Sandy.
Okay.
Your pouch. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, a little leather pouch.
I can't remember who made that for me, but I must have needed it because we talked about it, and within a couple hours I was looking for something and I found it. So I went, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Don't hit me over the head this time. I got it. So I put some stones in here that I needed, and so
yeah, because I have like stones like these. This is almost got like a smoky look to it.
Yeah.
And then I got this, which I have no idea what that is. I thought it was soap.
You thought it was soap?
I thought it was soap. And then
it could be soapstone.
Okay. Yeah, it's a cool color. I like it. It's a soft green color. And then I have these, like these little pieces that fall off the big piece.
Yeah.
And then this one's snapped in half.
Yeah.
So it's flat, and I don't know how that happened because it was.
Well, it probably had a fracture in it, So. Yeah, they're my juju rocks. But jewelry is the devil, Dwayne. So.
It's the what?
Dwayne keeps telling everybody that jewelry is the devil, and I keep telling him I dance with the devil every day. Then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Derek said it's your juju rocks.
Yeah, we have in the Dells, we have two different shops on each side of town that is like a mining thing. And so you can mine your own stones.
Yeah.
But they also have a section where they're already done and polished and stuff like that. And that's where I got these pieces here.
Yeah, I have a friend in Tucson, and hey, morning, Raven.
Good morning to Raven. Good morning to you. Good morning to Raven. Good morning to you.
And he's got some absolutely beautiful quartz crystals, and he always cuts me a great deal on it. So I will be sure and stop by and see him and see what we can do about getting you some crystals.
And I still want you to do Tommy's wedding bands.
Okay.
Because.
Good morning, Mama.
Good morning, Mama. Good morning to you. Good morning to Mama. Good morning to you.
Well, I love rocks too.
Yeah.
Even the ones that fall out when I sleep.
Yep. You have some pretty amazing rocks.
Yeah, I've been collecting them. Well, probably all of my life, but I started going to Tucson in '93. I really started, gathering some of these cool stones. And a friend of mine had a good idea last night. I have Sugilite, which to my knowledge, they're not bringing out of South Africa anymore. And she said, why don't you just make up a couple of pieces and sell them in Tucson, and that'll help you with your show. And I went, good idea. That's why I have friends like you hanging around me.
I'm not sure what that stone is.
What stone?
The one you were just talking about.
Sugilite?
Yeah.
Oh, Sugilite. I've got a piece right here. Let me wet it and I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Oh, I'm still not moving too good. All right.
Oh,
that's pretty.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's Sugilite. That's what it looks dry. That's why I wet it, because that's what it'll look like when it gets polished up. But
that's pretty.
Oh, wow.
And then let's see, I had another piece sitting here that I'll show you, because the colors, well, it's the stone that's in this ring. That's Sugilite.
That's gorgeous.
And then I had a hunk of it here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Hang on a second. Let me get this here. And it's got some different in it. So you can see a bigger range. It's got
oh, cool.
that color. And then, let's see here. Get this.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I love the intensity of the colors.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Isn't that some fun stuff? So,
wow. And each direction is different. Direction is different.
Yeah. So definitely think everybody loves Sugilite. Everybody loves the purple. So I'm glad she mentioned that, because I get tunnel vision sometimes, guys. Just thinking, well, I have to do an auction, I have to sell, and I have to, Sandy, you got rocks here that people want,
Yeah.
And then I just thought of it just now. I've got watermelon tourmaline crystals, which is the crystals that are bicolored. They're green and pink. So, and those are desirable. So, I can take some stones to.
Lynn says it reminds her of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And then Derek asked, what's the best way to cut a stone? Does a Dremel work?
Yeah, I use a 6-inch wet saw. Probably the cheapest way you could get away with, if you wanted to cut some rocks, is get one of those $50 tile saws.
Tile saw, yeah, that makes sense.
And that's the cheapest one that I know of. I think they go on sale and they're around $50, for a wet saw.
Yeah, because if you did a Dremel, it seems like you'd be wasting a lot of stone, wouldn't you?
Well, it
potentially
would take you a long
to get through it.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So
that makes sense.
Okay, it's SUG I believe.
Yeah.
Do you pick stones that call to you?
Pardon me?
Is that how you are? Do you like pick stones when you're like looking at all the different stones and stuff? Do you pick the ones that call out to you, like drawn into? Okay, because I know some people just collect them and use them for whatever, but I know some people.
Yeah, here, this is my stone cutting machine right there.
Okay.
And I've got stones laying on the top of that, and then in front of it, and on the side over here, I've got stones. And my workbench used to be so I could, you know, sit there and look at those. And, you know, some of them have been sitting there for 6 or 8 months. And then all of a sudden, that's the stone that I'll see. And it'll tell me whether it wants to be a ring or a pendant or a bracelet or,
you know. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's way cool.
I mean, that's my process.
That's your superhero power.
You know, I have stones that people have bought and they're waiting for me to make a piece out of it. And they've been real gracious to me that, you know, they say, whenever, Sandy. And, you know, I may wake up in the middle of the night and have the design for so-and-so stone, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But if you just want me to make it, I'll do that for you. But if you want me to wait till the stone calls out and I have a design, I think that's,
you're going to get the best piece that way.
Yeah, I think that's my best work, you know, is when I do it that way. So rose quartz. Yep. I'm going to try and get that this year in Tucson.
I know we have a lot of stone here, quartz and stuff. And we also have granite, a lot of granite in Wisconsin. And so I think more granite than quartz. But we have a rose granite. Is that like in the same family as the rose quartz, or?
No, one's granite and one's quartz. It's just the color that's the same. It would be like rose, granite, and pink opal, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know if it was the same family or anything like that. Derek wants to know, I could use the Dremel for polishing and other S.
Yeah, you sure can. Yeah. Did you read what Dwayne said?
Yeah. If you listen real close, you can hear Sandy Stone say, "Those are Dwayne's stones. Send them to him."
Again,
You're funny, Dwayne.
Yeah, I dropped your link, Sandy, for anybody who's not following you.
Thank you.
You guys will love her. She's awesome.
She does some awesome, like I said, Sandy does great work, but there's also great conversation on Sandy's channel as well. Good morning, Ramblin' Hick. Good morning to you. Good morning, Ramblin' Hick. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I know you're just coming on, Ramblin' Hick, but I am thinking we have been on for almost 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Time for Tracy to take a little break.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to sign out for now. And Sandy, do you plan on going live a little bit later?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So watch for Sandy coming live.
Probably be a couple of hours before I go live.
All right. Sounds good. So we'll see Sandy in a couple hours and see all the rest of you tomorrow.
Much love, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
And